Good morning, everyone. I make that 11 o'clock, so I'm going to start the webinar now for you. Welcome today. We're going to do a short webinar on work-life balance and how employees can achieve this. And also we want to work on how employers can help their employees throughout this process. It is a two-way street, and we want employers to be able to help employees, but also employees to help themselves. The team from Clover HR are bringing you this webinar. So we are your trusted people advisors. We're here to help in any way we can, and you'll see the plethora of expertise there on the screen. We have over 200 years experience between us all, and we can offer you the best advice and the best service while also teaming up with you to work in partnership with you and your business. I've worked in HR for 22 years now, and I love everything about the profession. So if you want to get in touch with me after this webinar to have a chat about anything individual, then by all means do, and I'm happy to help. So the Q&A will be at the end of the session. If you want to put any questions in the Q&A throughout, that's absolutely fine, but I'll address them at the end. And what I would ask you to do is keep your microphones on mute, just so we can get through the content of the topic, and then we'll address any questions afterwards. Thank you ever so much. So if we move on to what we'll be covering today, we need to look at what work-life balance is, what it looks like, what it means. What are the effects if there is no work-life or little work-life balance for employees, and what does it look like? What are the symptoms of it? Lessons from COVID-19 about work and well-being, and this will be a topic that's quite prevalent at the moment, given we're still in amongst the pandemic. How employees can help themselves, so we need to really look at how employees can find ways to really get that work-life balance, but then also how employers can encourage them as well, and their team to get that balance in life. And a bit of a summary at the end, and obviously any Q&A you may have for me. So when we look at work-life balance, what it means, and a definition of it, is the level of prioritisation between personal and professional activities in an individual's life, and the level to which activities related to their job are present at home. So the old cliche, bringing work home with you, work-life balance is a topical issue obviously now due to the increased amount of technology that removes the importance of being physically at work in the location. So defining work-life balance is a lot harder, and sometimes some would say a lot more harder to get. Defining work-life balance involves looking at how people manage their time spent at work and outside of work. Time outside of work may include managing relationships, family commitments, family responsibilities, and other outside interests and hobbies that individual may have. So the method the individual uses to jiggle all their work and life constitutes their work-life balance. When we look at what the effects are if there is no work-life balance or little work-life balance, research shows poor work-life balance impacts the mental health of employees, with 1 in 3 feeling unhappy about the time they devote to work. And this can obviously have a knock-on effect with their performance, their productivity. 40% are neglecting aspects of their life because of work. So what are they missing out on and feeling bitter about, potentially because of working, and they're missing out on their home life, their children's upbringing, any hobbies and interests they may have. Several studies have shown that long working hours are bad for one's health, with adverse effects on cardiovascular and mental health. And certainly doing my research on this topic, it doesn't show significant impact in early days. However, as employees get older and older, this can then start to show the signs of previous long hours and little work-life balance. So when working long hours, it's stated that 27% of people feel depressed, 34% feel anxious, and 58% feel irritable and irritated, possibly by the fact that they either feel they have to or want to or need to. And this is obviously something as an employer you've got to address. So a statistic that I kind of recently come across was in 1910, a normal sleeping schedule was considered 9 hours a night. Well, today, some 110 years later, it's fallen to 7.5 hours a day. Now, is that because of work? Is it because we're enjoying life more? There's more to do? Who knows? We'll look more into the facts in a moment. So the effects if there is no work-life balance, this is damaging to people's health and can include higher risk of stroke, coronary heart disease and mental disorders such as anxiety and depression. So obviously I'm giving the worst case scenario, but there is situations where this is happening. So over 6 million people in Britain alone currently work more than 45 hours a week continuously, week in, week out. And this is probably the most that it is in Europe. The results indicate that although the effects of poor work-life balance may not be felt immediately, this is what I was saying earlier, the consequences extend into older age, and that's when it's more visible. So cutting down on work hours and getting plenty of rest as early in life as possible would mitigate these health effects, you'd like to say, in older age. Other effects of no work-life balance can include fatigue. So if you are overtired, it reduces your ability to work productively and think clearly. So there's no time for the family. Working long hours and overtime might make you miss important family events and moments, and this can leave you feeling left out and damage the relationships you have at home with your children or other people or a partner. Increased expectations. So this is where employees do come into it. Working extra hours might lead you to taking on extra responsibility. You might feel you have to, you need to, and there's increased expectations from your manager or your company. So this can cause stress and challenges that one will have a really hard time facing. So the lessons really to learn about work and well-being with COVID, because happy people, employees are more productive, business leaders should track employee well-being, and this should make it a priority. So workers are about 13% more productive in weeks when they are in a positive, happy mood, as past research indicates. So while becoming unemployed during the pandemic is associated with a 12% drop in life satisfaction, we have found that workers who were lonely before the pandemic fell much lower in terms of their well-being during the furlough or redundancy, unfortunately. So the broad adoption of remote working is probably the one silver lining to the pandemic, with some 20% of employees currently working from home, up from 5% before the pandemic. I feel with the working from home environment, it has brought a lot of trust to the employees, and this has brought a different working culture and environment to the business, which again is a good thing. The clear route forward, obviously, is a smart hybrid future of work that strikes a balance between office life and working from home to maintain that social connection, and that is vital for the flexibility for workers. So this is vital with certain roles, as it gives that social identity and a social network that human beings need, both of which are cornerstones of our psychological well-being, and we like to feel needed, wanted, and we are social animals. With employees working from home more, it is more important than ever for employees to achieve this and employers to help. So just because they're out of sight, it doesn't mean they're out of mind. And to get this balance right, employees will be hopefully more happier and more productive. However, it's important to note that the impact on our well-being and productivity is only one channel between employee well-being and company performance. So it's not the only channel, because a happier workplace will also attract more talent, and hopefully will retain that talent for longer. In previous years, potential applicants in a company would have learned about its workplace and morale through word of mouth, through friends. But today they can simply look at websites like Glassdoor or Indeed, which crowdsource employee data on a massive scale, and they're starting to make these numbers public. So when you are recruiting and you're trying to recruit the best talent, that's where they're looking to see what the company's like. So aside from forging a hybrid model of work for employees, what employees should do differently? The answer is relatively simple at this stage. Measure employees' wellbeing and track these numbers with the same level of attention you do to track financial reports. So after all, what gets measured gets done. So if organisations strive to get this right, then there is all the more reason to believe we can forge a healthier and more productive future of work, which hopefully in turn leading into a happier society. What can employees do to help themselves? Now, they have a duty to look after themselves, obviously, just as employers have a duty to look after them. So employees can look at adding downtime into their busy week schedule. If they are working from home for the week, put in a walk, put in a break, start times, finish times, really try and structure your week so you get that balance at home. And obviously the days that you go into the office, you'll have those hours of work. Try and promote the same methods at home and go for a walk at lunchtime. So drop activities that drain your energy. Often you have to analyse what is draining your energy through the week, through the working week, and you really have to make some decisions on whether you need to do them or have to do them. Rethink your tasks. With what you do, can you work smarter in certain ways? Do you need to do some things? Can you make it quicker in some way? Can you make it more productive, more process driven? Get moving. This is obviously where I'm promoting the walking during lunchtime. Go for a walk before work, go for a walk after work. Just have some fresh air. This is vital for us to not, when we're not moving from our home environment, just to get those endorphins going and feeling good about ourselves. And relaxation is good for you. We all find a different way to relax. So employees can often take time out to do yoga or meditation, or even just a walk or a bike ride will help them, or walking the dog. So try and find your method of relaxation and do that throughout each day. What can employers do to help? So we really need to look here. I've got a bit of a list. Some of it is common sense, but again, it's keeping it going. It's keeping that momentum going, keeping reminding your employees, and keeping structure in place so you do set these daily reminders, weekly reminders for your employees and things to look out for. So encourage your employees to take regular breaks with a walk or a coffee. Encourage your employees to go for a lunchtime walk and be different, or whether it be an entirely different part of the office. And try and put that in place and create maybe a competitive approach to it, so different groups go if you can't all leave the office at the same time. Create breakout rooms or set aside spare desks that other workers can go to. Sometimes team chatter and phones can be overwhelming, and it's healthy to get away from that for a bit and take a break from it all. Regular reviews on workload. So make sure you review your employees' allocation of duties to ensure that each individual isn't taking on too much. They need to feel effective in their job and feel as if they're doing a good job. If they've got too much and are not doing good at anything, this will have an effect on their anxiety levels, their stress levels. You need to familiarise yourself with the processes of allocating work. So what's the fairest way to do it? What seems like a small task to management might actually take an individual a day to do. So really look at what you're delegating to each of your employees and whether that's in proportion. Lead by example, so ensure that managers and their senior leadership team enjoy a healthy work-life balance too. So you need to promote this as you're doing it to your staff. Make sure that you're leaving the office on time when you can, taking breaks, and not emailing workers out of hours too much, or expecting them to deliver in unworkable timescales when the work isn't urgent at that point in time. It's always important to step up when we need to, but when we don't, try and promote that finishing on time approach. Give employees time to volunteer. So research shows that millennials are more motivated by social action rather than simply just getting paid for when looking for their employment. So having the opportunity to do good is not just confined to millennials though. If workers are allowed the freedom to give back while working, they would generally feel good about themselves and about their workplace. So let them volunteer in certain things, let them have a day to do some care work. And this is certainly one way back of helping your employees feel good. Reconsider time off. So when I say this, I mean another way to prevent burnout is to force workers to take their time while off within the holiday year by not allowing them to carry over too many days or capping the amount of days they can carry over. So make sure they take their allocated breaks and the times off work that they can. And certainly don't encourage them to work while they are on holiday or anything like that, because they need that shut off, they need that mental break from it, as well as the physical break. Most team members would rather book the time off than risk losing them. So if there's a risk of losing them or they have to take them, they're more likely to take them. Increased support for parents. Obviously, there is working parents within the workforce. So often companies lose the great talent, especially mums, because they can't cater for the childcare needs, the flexibility that they need, the school hours, the nursery hours. The problem isn't restricted to mums alone, as you know, with all many men saying they want to spend more time with their children too, and sometimes taking on those duties of working from home and looking after the children. So ensure the mums and dads in your organisation are getting a better work-life balance so you don't lose precious expertise there. You don't want to be able to lose good talent just because they couldn't finish an hour earlier. You can consider ways to help with childcare costs. So some of the other employee benefits can help with that, or reward schemes. Also providing better and equal benefits for maternity, paternity, or shared parental leave will encourage all parents to balance their working life and parenthood regardless of the gender. And consider if you can do more to offer parents part-time roles or job shares, and this works effectively and has proven to. Offer health cash plans, so provide health cash plans, providing reassurance to employees knowing that they have insurance for them or their family if they become unwell. This is a good incentive, certainly as a benefit for marketing your employer status and for new starters or for recruiting. It also encourages a more proactive approach to health checkups and inoculations, hopefully leading to fewer staff absences and illnesses. So if people are looking after themselves and their well-being, and you're promoting that, then that can obviously only help with the employee's health. And ask your employees for their views. Almost half of workers have never been asked by their employer what will provide their experiences, as research has found, and only 12% are asked on a regular basis. So if you want to create a better work-life balance for your employees, ask them what works for them. You might not be able to create it all, but it's a good way to show that you want to know their opinions, you want to know what works for them, and everyone is different at the end of the day. So what helps one person wouldn't potentially help another person. Companies that attract and keep the best people know that every employee is different, and they can design at work, and they design experiences, at work that can be personalised for everyone. So if your company is serious about creating a better work-life balance for your employees, there won't be a one-size-fits-all approach. It has to meet the needs of others. You need to tailor that approach to each employee. Trust employees, so empower employees to decide what works for them best. Workers value employers who empower them to manage their own time. So employees feel valued at companies where they know they can finish early to get a boiler fixed, or they can see a physician when needed and come into work an hour later. And that trust is there, that they will get their work done and then they work an hour over or an hour, after in the evening, but safe in the knowledge that the employee knows they'll still get the job done, and that can go a long way. Focus on productivity instead of working hours. So rather than count the hours an employee works, encourage managers to focus on the completion of the task itself in that particular task. Again, keep regular check-ins and keep regular reviews on their workload. Some days employees may need to put in long hours to complete a task, but this is offset by the days when they don't need to work a full 8-hour, 12-hour day. So that offering flexibility. 81% of 3,500 employees polled in a recent survey placed importance and value on flexible working. So they want to be trusted to manage when, where, and how they work, which is no surprise really given the data that we're getting back. And finally, give employee information about healthy work-life balance. Knowledge is power a lot of the time, and if they know how to look after themselves, that will go a long way while you promote it to them. This can only help, obviously, their health, their absence rates, and hopefully their productivity and happiness while they're in work as well. So the benefits of a healthier work-life balance to your business are phenomenal. Hopefully you can see here. Not only are workers happier and more productive, but your company will become well known for looking after employees, and so will attract top talent, helping to hire and retain the best people. Ensure your business is a people company, and that's what we're all about at Clover, as you know. Are you an organisation or business where your people are your most valuable asset, and where company success is dependent on the workforce being successful? Further advice can be found obviously from Clover. So if you have any individual cases you wish to discuss, then do not hesitate to contact one of our HR business partners. We can run manager workshops for you to promote awareness of this subject and give advice and support to line managers and employees if needed. We can help with creating a flexible working policy that suits all. And especially at the moment, a lot of our clients are changing their contracts of employment based on flexible working, for coming back to the office, the hybrid approach to working 3 days a week at home, 2 days a week in the office, is certainly something that we're looking at with a lot of our clients at the moment. We run regular employee wellbeing webinars to promote obviously work-life balance and regime, show as an employer that you care about them. So may possibly run this in-house to your employees. Clover can run these for all of your employees to join, whether that be face-to-face or online at the moment. Also keep an eye on social media, so for Clover's ongoing free webinar programme, and we will continue to update this with as many useful topics as we can. We've also introduced podcasts recently for those moments in the car or walking the dog, just to keep you fully up to date on all things HR related. Feel free to check out that. But thank you for listening today. I hope you found it really useful. I have whistled through the topics quite quickly. So if there is anything you want to ask me now, by all means, I will have a look at the chat options and see if there's any questions. Again, feel free to ask anything if you want to, or comment, or any future topics that you want to come from this. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any questions at the moment. So thank you for listening. It's been lovely to see a lot of people joining the call and the webinar. Again, it will be pre-recorded. It is recorded, so have a look on the website if you want any of your team to watch it over again, or it'll be on YouTube as well. And I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.